Jiving with Shane, where we talk about Jim Root, heavy metal, and he tries to explain. We have fun, we sing and dance, sometimes we almost shit our pants, but we jive, jive, jive all over town. Bam, that was good. That was damn good. I turned that off. Now I'm going to completely forget where that was. Welcome, welcome one and all back to another hot and delicious, fresh and juicy, right out of the oven episode of Jive Talkin with Shane Diablo, where we just talk about the news story, heavy metal and hard rock news stories of the week that perhaps piqued my interest in some way, form, or fashion. If you're new here, you can listen on Spotify, or you can watch it on Spotify, or you can watch it on YouTube, and you can listen to it here on YouTube while you're watching it. If you want to be on the episode. See, I'm getting very professional with this stuff. At some point, you have to get professional. If you want to see your comments, you say, how do these people, they keep yakking on at the end of the episodes when I'm almost asleep? And I hear these people yakking on, he's reading their comments. How do I do that? Well, all you've got to do is put your comments in that episode, replying to the stories told. And then the following episode, I read those comments at the very end of the show. We have the comments prepared and ready to go. So let's get into it. That's Jim Root. If you don't know this Rooty Tooty, this root beer floaty, that's the guitar player. What was his number? 6, 7, 8? 2, 3, 4. He explains why he initially turned down the invitation to join Slipknot. You saying in some kind of a goddamn multiverse nightmare world of yours, you're saying, Shane, no. That cannot be true. Jim Root has always been there. Unfortunately, in some other universe, like a multiverse situation, the band would be exactly the same. Jim Root would be in the band, but he's got a crop top hairdo. And in another multiverse, it would be the same band, but he would have a mullet. And that just goes on through infinity and change. It's basically hairstyles that change. Jim Root explains it, so we're going to get into it and see what happens. In a new interview with Prism Supply, Slipknot's Jim Root, I gotta swallow all that. When I talk so much, it just starts to swell up there around the lips. Jim Root reflected on how the first time he was invited to join the band, the guitarist said, no. He was already in a group, the Des Moines, Iowa metal band Dead Front. I wonder if they got stuff on Spotify. Slipknot was in California recording its 1999 self-titled debut, and guitarist Josh Brainerd had just left the group. Wow. So I guess they'll tell us if he was actually on it. I guess he wouldn't have been, right? After Corey Taylor, Slipknot singer, had joined Slipknot, I was in a band called Dead Front. And in Des Moines, we had a lot of success, Root recalled. And I had been called by Clown, percussionist Sean Curran, and Joey Jordison, rest in peace, the Slipknot drummer, rest in peace, and producer Ross Robinson to join Slipknot. And I told guys in my band that I wouldn't do it. If they ever called me, that I would say no. And I think I said that because I didn't think they would ever call me. But I also didn't want to feel like anything was ever handed to me. I wanted to feel like I did it on my own. I mean, but you're still doing it on your own, buddy. Even though you were handed that position in the band, you're still doing it, right? You're still around. You're one of the big bands in the new wave of the metal situation. I wanted to feel like I did it on my own, that I did all the legwork. I was like, yeah, they called me to ask me to join Slipknot. My buddy Zach, funny, he was like, what are you fucking doing, stupid boy? What'd you say no for, dude? You've been working your ass off since you were 16 playing in bands and clubs, and you played with these guys in bands and clubs. He was like, it said that. That wasn't me missing the line. Ass off, and since you were 16 playing in bands and in clubs, and you played with these guys in bands and clubs, he was like, Very few times in life do you get a chance to take a huge leap forward. That doesn't come sometimes ever to anybody. So I immediately got up from the table, and I actually got on the payphone, and I called Clown Collect. I said, because this call is for Clown. Do you accept the charges? Yeah, I accept the charges. Did you guys find a guitar player yet? He was like, nope. And it was Saturday night. I decided, fuck it. So I literally quit my job that Monday and then rehearsed with the band Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And then Sunday, I got in the car with Mick Thompson, Slipknot guitarist, and we drove to Los Angeles, California to work on the rest of the first self-titled record release. Man, he was cutting it close with that one, wasn't he? Literally, they're in the studio cutting that record, which would just explode, wouldn't it? I remember my buddies coming down with the CD, and it had all those, like, look at these freaks, man, on the cover. And you wait till you hear it, dude. Wait till you hear it. That's what they kept telling me. In 2019 interview with WMMR, Root explained that he was first approached by Slipknot's original singer, Anders Kulsefny. We talked about him a little bit, because he's going out and doing some tour dates. Because before the self-titled 1999 release, there was an EP, what was it called? Kill, Fade, Eat, Repeat. And this guy's going to go out and do those songs. They'll probably mention that somewhere down in here, but we're not going to get that far. Replacing the band's original guitarist, Donnie Steele, back in 1996. I said no at the time because I hadn't been playing guitar and I knew that those guys were players, he told WMMR. My chops were bad. I hadn't even touched a guitar in years. So I was just kind of like, nah, I'm just going to be a regular dildo. Really? It says it right there. No, I'm just going to be a regular dildo, work, and do all that. You calling me a dildo? Jim Root? I'm calling you out right now. If you're calling a working man a dildo, you better take them words back. In 1996, Root joined Taylor's Stone Sour. Oh, I didn't know that. Only for Taylor to replace Kulsefny in Slipknot in 1997. Taylor had Stone Sour before he had Slipknot. There's a mind twister. Slipknot has since put out 7 albums, including its latest, The End So Far. The band has won a Grammy, toured the world, and put on its own festivals, Knotfest. There have also been a number of low points and several lineup changes, most notably the death of founding member Paul Gray in 2010 of a drug overdose. Founding drummer Joey Jordison was fired in 2023. Alessandro Ventrella and Jay Weinberg have since joined. I didn't know who Alessandro Ventrella was. I know Jay Weinberg. Have since joined Slipknot on bass and drums, respectively. So there you have that. I wanted to get into a story about Gene Simmons finding love, because he never wanted to be hurt ever again. He never wanted to be hurt the first time or the last time, and he's still trying to work on love. And so I wanted to get into this a little deeper. I did a TikTok on it. Gene Simmons opens up about true love and marriage. I never wanted to be hurt ever again. Kiss legend Gene Simmons and his wife Shannon Tweed recently sat down with Sky News Australia's Piers Morgan. All right, mate. To discuss their marriage, children, and more. Asked what true love means to him, Gene replied as transcribed. Shamefully, I never confronted myself about that and barely said I love you to my mother. Shocking and shamefully. I was afraid of being weak and I never opened myself to that. You know, the knight in shining armor thing, at least you have protection around you. And I never wanted to be hurt ever again. What can I say? There's no school for life. There's no school for that says, okay, this is what marriage is. Yeah, it is. They train you, every damn TV show and every book and every TV show in the world in 1950 shows you how love works. You get old enough, you get out of high school, you marry your high school sweetheart, you pump out 2 kids, and then you mow the lawns, right? Okay, this is what marriage is. This is what a relationship is. Translation, I'm doing some pretty good talking I saw a TikTok just of him last week doing the licky licky boom boom to some girl in the audience, and he was going, you, he kept pointing at her, you in the audience. So it's like, he's still working on the love bits, okay? Simmons' father left him, oh boy, and his Holocaust survivor mother when he was a child. Speaking later, he commented on his refusal to contact his dad while his dad was alive. I wanted to prove to myself and to everybody else and to my father that I didn't need him. So once I proved it and became successful, I wanted to stand stubbornly on my pride and not move. I mean, I'm fine with that, Gene. The guy kicked out on you when you were 10 years old. Kiss my ass, pal. He's almost, Gene Simmons is like, 70 now. So, 67 years the guy hadn't been around. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Don't fret yourself. Gene married Shannon in 2011 after 28 years of dating. The wedding at the Beverly Hills Hotel was attended by 400 guests, including 2 children, Nick, born in 1989, and Sophie, born in 1992. At the reception, Simmons and his Kiss bandmates performed. Of course they did. And then Gene Simmons paid himself. He figured out some kind of a loophole to allow Kiss to pay him for his own wedding. The now 73-year-old musician proposed to his longtime girlfriend in Belize, saying, I come with so much baggage, but you're the only friend I've got. You're the only one I've ever loved. That's pretty. It's a nice sentiment, Gene. Short time before his proposal, Gene and Sharon got into a nasty tiff on the Joe Behar show when he joined in a joke about his past philandering ways, ticked Tweed off. I remember this. Yeah, let's see a little taste of this, if you don't mind.
I've been joined now by my special guest wife.
Oh, God, I don't want to see that. I wanted to see the Joey Behar. Anyways, we're off that. Corey Taylor. If you never get enough of Corey Taylor and you never get enough of Jim Root and Slipknot and everything else, well, look at this grizzled old man that smokes a solid 40 cigarettes a day, probably. And he's all leathered up. That skin, that's a man that's laid some bricks in his life. He's been out there landscaping and stuff. Duff McKagan. He gave Corey Taylor quite a nice compliment, and I wanted to get into it a little more. It says, Corey Taylor on being compared to a young Bruce Springsteen. Duff McKagan said that. That meant so much to Corey Taylor. He was like, oh my gosh, this freaking guy. During a recent appearance on the Rockman Power Hour, that's a great name for a podcast. The Rockman Power Hour. Slipknot frontman Corey Taylor was asked about a recent quote from Duff McKagan in which the Guns N' Roses bassist described watching a solo Taylor performance. Thusly, I saw Corey command an audience like a young Bruce Springsteen, acoustic guitar around his neck and telling truth-telling through songs as his means of communique. It was truly inspiring. Asked how he felt when he first read the statement from McKagan, Corey said, are you kidding me, freakoid? I mean, there are not a lot of people in this business that I have more respect for than Duff McKagan. Let's put my thing up. Not only is he one of my good friends, but he's, in terms of just people who have not only seen it all, but they've been through hell and come back to live to tell about it, man? When you grow up watching somebody going, fuck, he's one of the coolest dudes in the world, and then all of a sudden his number is on my phone, it's like on my phone right now. It does things to your brain, man. It does things to your brains. So when Duff, my new friend, who's now in my phone, which I could show you if you don't believe me, said that about me, when he wrote it, man, that meant so much to me because I have not always been the easiest person to like in this business. Let's put it that way. Because I'm very free with my opinion. That's putting it nicely. I tend not to hold back. I'm not a dick, but I'm not kissing anybody's juicy sweet ass, man. I don't have to. God, I like this guy. I really like this guy. At this point, when it comes to music, I take this very, very seriously. And if something feels half-assed or below average, I'm gonna fucking say something. So when I have somebody like that saying what he does, I try not to let the ego balloon get a little too big. I try to pop it with as many needles as, you could use that guy in Slipknot band's helmet that he has on. But you guys just kicked him out. So now you're going to have all them big balloons, your ego balloons, or you're not going to be able to pop your ego balloons. Because you don't have his helmet over there doing the keyboards. I try not to let the ego balloon get a little too big. I try to pop it. It was met with as many needles as I can. But at the same time, that's a huge thing to live up to. Oh, he says he's going to be lying about something. I'd be lying if I didn't say that that's kind of where my vision lies with what I want to do as a solo artist. Hints of Springsteen, hints of Ozzy Osbourne, a lot of Alice in Chains and vibes like that. I'm basically just trying to put my spin on everything that I've ever loved and doing it for an audience. So it's rad. I mean, it is pretty rad. Not only to feel the appreciation, but to feel it from somebody like him, whom I'm talking about. You might have forgot, Duff McKagan, who's in my phone if you want to see. He's been all over the world. He's in one of the biggest bands of all time, and he's just one of the best in the business. Yeah, it's a mind fuck. So there you have that. Corey Taylor. And look at this guy right here. We got a story here on Rick Allen from Def Leppard is about to give Chubby Cheeks, Wolfgang Van Halen, our friend, our pal. Well, he's not our friend. We'd like him to be our friend, but we have no communiques with him or anything like that. But this guy is about to shower him in sweetness and words and kindnesses. And look at how he's dressed. You can see those. He's in the backyard, and he says, "Honey, you know they got one of those where they landscape it, and it still looks plastic. It looks beautiful. You go back there, you're having a barbecue. You're like, oh, this is a nice yard, but it doesn't look natural. It looks plastic, like people have made it. But it's a huge backyard, and they're back there, and Rick Allen's just saying, I'm gonna give this guy some compliments because he deserves it. And we hope that at some point in the near future, we'll be telling a story about how Wolfgang has returned compliments to Rick Allen. But let's get into it. Def Leppard's Rick Allen calls Wolfgang Van Halen a beautiful human being. He's a beautiful human being. He's so well balanced. In a new interview with Paltrowcast host Darren Paltrowitz, Rick Allen spoke about his recent encounter with Wolfgang Van Halen when Mammoth WVH opened for Def Leppard and Motley Crue at 3 shows in the United Kingdom and Ireland. Well, interestingly enough, I was very fortunate to meet Wolfie. And I call him Wolfie. Oh, I met Wolfie's dad. I did. The Def Leppard drummer said, referencing legendary Van Halen guitarist Eddie Van Halen. I met him through a friend of mine, Steve Lukather, that played with Toto. Boy, that's a rock band. Rosanna, and what was that one? Hold the line. Love is now. I know what I'm listening to as soon as I get done with this.
That was back in the 80s. So I had the opportunity to get on a golf cart with Wolfie in the other day. And as we would go, he's a great bodyguard to have too. If anyone tries to go at Rick Allen again, have Wolfgang sitting right next to you. Got no problems. And he's wearing a black t-shirt and all, private security wear that kind of stuff, I had to wet the whistle, man. You don't know how hard it is to sit and talk like this. So, where was we? He had an opportunity to sit in a golf cart with Wolfie the other day. As we were going up the stage, I said, I met your dad through Steve Lukather. He said, who the bleeding fuck is that? No. And I guess Wolfie is still very close with Steve. It was really a wonderful moment. Rick added about Wolfgang, what a beautiful human being. He's so well balanced. And we're all just rallied to support him because he's gone through a lot of hardship and a lot of loss. A beautiful guy. And I guess we're going to keep in touch. It was nice to meet him. He gave me his phone number and I put it in my phone. And I can show you if you'd like to see it if you don't believe me. Asked if there were any Van Halen stories shared between him and Wolfgang, Rick said no. No, I didn't feel it was appropriate, but I felt it was nice to tell him what I did know his dad, which I figured would endear him to me. More than 2 years ago, Alan reflected on the first time he heard Van Halen's music back in 1978, shortly after the release of the band's debut album. Me best friend, he calls me and he says, hey, I want you to come over and listen to this record. Rick told Pat Soundbites Unplugged. So I got to his house and listened to Van Halen 1 for the very first time, and I was completely blown away. A couple of months later, they were coming through town with Black Sabbath. They were opening for Black Sabbath. And quite honestly, Van Halen owned that show, the Black Sabbath camp. You could see the wheels kind of coming off. But yeah, Van Halen, they should have been the headliner. And then I moved to the States in 1991, became really good friends with Steve Lukather. You know him, he's the singer for Toto. Or he's one of the guys that's in Toto. I'm not prepared to say he's the singer. He called me one night and he said, how the lights get the bow down. Love isn't always on time. And he says, we're having a get-together. We'd love for you to come. I'd love to introduce you to my friend, Mr. Eddie Van Halen. So, as the huge Van Halen fan from way back, I actually got to meet him. He was very unassuming. You wouldn't have thought he did what he did for a living, and especially play guitar like he does. Also in 2021, Alan told CBS 12 that he really looked up to Eddie Van Halen as a musician. Well, I think he changed guitar playing forever. I think between him and Jimi Hendrix, they inspired other musicians. It's just massive. What about Jimmy Page? Come on now. That's enough of that. That's enough of that, guys. We got one more bit here, and then we're going to get into your comments. Erik Gronwall sings The Trooper. We're going to give it a listen. Now, we're going to read just a little bit here. They're going to go into this guy's whole life story and everything. We're just going to read a bit, then we're going to go down and hear him do some of that. All right? Does that sound fun? Okay, let's do it. Skid Row frontman Erik Gronwall has released a music video for his cover. And by the way, I'll just say this right now. If they try and block or chop my video, we're just going straight to the comments, okay? You're not going to hear the tune because sometimes they do that. They take a 45-minute episode and go, oops. So we'll find out. Skid Row, Erik Gronwall, yes. Iron Maiden classic, The Trooper. The track was produced by Jonah T. and features a guitar solo from Philip Naslund. Erik, who made his recording debut with Skid Row, yes, and he was on that and this and that. Erik went to say that he isn't bothered by the fact that some fans are still clamoring for a reunion of the band with the old boy there. What's his name? Skid John? I can't remember. It's escaping me. I understand the fans' perspective of wanting the original lineup. Sebastian Bach. All right. He's going to just go for it. So, and look at him. This is a guy that's about to go, you take me life and I'll take yours too. Let's do it. All right. Okay. There we go.
You'll take my life, but I'll take yours too. You'll fire a musket, but I'll run you through. So when you're waiting for the next attack, you better stand, there's no time. The villain's house, the charge begins. We're on this battlefield, no one wins. The smell of backwards smoking horses run.
Yeah.
As I punch, I need the second death.
Give him a little back up there. What do you think of that, huh? What do you think? Let's get into the comments. What do you say? I thought that was pretty good. He was doing a perfectly good job, but you won't know that if they decide to ding my video. Mike Buchanan coming in here. Let's have a little sip to celebrate his arrival. I like to take the big drinks. Not little drinks. I like to take the big drinks. Mike Buchanan coming in here. I'm betting a lot of those comments were from me, as YouTube likes to delete my comments when I talk about movies that are bad. But we love them anyways. I'm going to read that again, that line. Movies that are bad, but we love them anyways. That's the title of the thing, okay? Don't get it twisted. I have to very craftily, is it crafty or craftily? Crafty on wording so that their comment doesn't get deleted. So with that being said, I give you Voyage to the Planet of Prehistoric Women. I'm watching it. 1968. This one was a weird one, as it uses Soviet film footage of a different movie to make this movie. I've heard of them doing that. There's other movies like that. You'll see a red star on the rocket ship. There's a lot of voiceover work. Astronauts landing on Venus, killing a flying creature that resembles a predasaur. I don't know what the heck. Pterosaur. Which is worshipped as a god by the local blonde Venusian women. They attempt to kill the astronaut by means of their superhuman powers, but ultimately fail. The astronauts eventually escape from Venus, and their abandoned robot, damaged in a flow of volcanic mud and ultimately shut down by the humans for their survival, becomes, in a surprise plot twist ending, ... Go see the movie to find out what happens. I don't know if I missed a line there, but I'm feeling pretty confident about that. We're going to move on to your next stuff here. Glad for David. I need to do this as well. Dude, WebMD has everyone dying. I know, it's bad. It's really bad. I think Mick was playing by himself, if you know what I mean. He needs to release a solo album. Oh, he was playing by himself. He was the only one that was doing it live on stage. It's like every Motley Crue show you can see, oh, this guy's not playing tonight. It's like they shook their names in a hat. And they're like, who's gonna have to play tonight? You know, and Tommy Lee goes, oh, damn, bros. I gotta play tonight. Let's see, what the heck was that thing? Looked like a lobster claw to me. I don't know what you're talking about. Todd's got one up on me on the comedy thing. He's actually been on stage in front of people. That terrifies me. Yeah, I could not do that, man. I don't know. They say isn't that the number one horror of in the world is public speaking? I thought there was like something where it was like, that is the scariest thing in the world. Not seeing a bear charging at you and, eating you. It's speaking in front of people in public. I don't know. I go to a local comedy place around my parts about once every week or two. I love comedy clubs because it's the vibe. And even if the comedian's not hilarious, like you would, laugh at, I don't know, anywhere else too, you still laugh because you're in the environment. It's great. Back to this. I go to a local comedy place around my parts about once every week or two. They've tried to get me on stage. Nope. Why? YOLO, bro. I've always had a huge fear of speaking in front of people. Yeah, that's the number one fear of the world. And we're back to the end of the end of the end of the end of the road tour. I'm still holding out hope for Kiss concert with all of them wheeled out in wheelchairs. I pay good money to see that. Yeah. And the prices would go up. Don't you not think that they wouldn't? They'd say, we're making a spectacle. Wouldn't it be funny to see Paul Stanley in a wheelchair and he's like, would you like me to come out and sing to you? And they just bring this crane down and hook his wheelchair. And he just went, tonight. I mean, I'm paying $100. I'm paying $150 for those tickets. You're right. And now, your Jive Talkin jokes of the week. As I look at my naked body in the mirror, I realize that I was going to get kicked out of IKEA. Huh? As I looked at my naked body in the mirror, I realized, okay, Jesus. It's because he was naked in IKEA, don't you get it? I wrote a book on how not to fall down the stairs. It's a step-by-step guide. I tried to donate blood today. Never again. Too many questions. Whose blood is it? Where did it come from? Why is it in a bucket? That is great. That's going to work with me. My girlfriend's dog died yesterday, so I tried to cheer her up by buying her an identical one. It just made her more upset. She screamed at me. What am I supposed to do with 2 dead dogs? Oh! And finally, try not to laugh. Why can't Michael Jackson go within 500 feet of a school? Because he's dead. Boo, dead, 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 dead. Yeah. There you go, buddy. Heart for you. Oscar coming in here. I also used an adverb to describe Vinny, the Fingers, Vinnie Vincent, Vinny the Fingers, as a cocksucker. And believed it vanished as well. Yeah. Remember that movie? What was it called? Oh, God, it was a kind of a lampoon comedy, but that guy goes, I think it was Johnny Dangerously. It's a you fucking ice hole. But he says cork sucker. You cork suck. I also noticed a comment. Oh, this is Oscar again. I also noticed a comment of mine vanished in regard to a video of Bruce dicking around and his wife Patty who passed in a tragic accident. I still got to get into that, find out what the hell's going on with that stuff. Because I think Oscar's explained it a little bit before, but it was the video where Bruce wore a silly hat trying to be funny and with founding member Steve. Yeah, that video's, so maybe that's, I'll have to go in there and see if I can hunt down some of those, but that place is a terrible place to go, I'm telling you, that folder that holds those mean comments and stuff. It is a wicked, wicked place to go. I realize my sarcasm and bad taste is, and quotes, bad taste is borderline offensive to some. I stated something like, I ran into the band's sound engineer, and at the next concert during the encore performance of Tears of a Clown, it was his job to use a hologram projection of Patty and aim it next to Bruce as he ran around stage. I mean, that is... You're going to have to explain that more to me, but I can see some... I can see, you know, I'm completely lost. I ran into the band's sound engineer at the next concert during the encore performance of Tears of a Clown. It was his job to use hologram projection of Patty. Is that real? That's what I'm wondering. Is this hologram projection to aim it next to Bruce as he ran around the stage? Get back to me on that, buddy. I watched the video again and my comment was gone. I was livid and thought a fellow fan of the show or Shane Diablo himself took it down, which could be the case. No. I am telling you right now, I do not do any deleting of comments or anything. If you say it, it's there. Good, bad, or otherwise. The only thing I could think of is sometimes if it's all capitals or if I don't know. I don't know. I'll go into the folder of doom, but I can tell you right now, I don't delete comments or block people or do any of that unless they're just heinous. Okay, so I didn't do that, okay? Now I'm going to give you a heart and I'm going to give you a thumb just so you know that I did not know. I don't know how the fans would do it. But no. No, Oscar, no. And Oscar again. A few weeks ago, I was surprised you didn't read my comment. It may have vanished. I made a humble statement how you do not advertise here. Right. Okay. You don't advertise here. Okay. I made a meek 5 times 3 contribution to you months ago for your endeavors and making me laugh over the past year. Oh, this is going to be a breakup letter, isn't it? He's going to say, therefore, I'm not, and more. I encouraged others to match it or do what they could in support. Just a thought, if you don't already, maybe take a few minutes throughout the week and take screenshots of comments. Yeah, okay. And form a hypothesis why they vanish, other than ones where followers give you their phone number and want to hook up. I hope he doesn't end with, therefore, I'm leaving and never coming back. Thanks for transcribing this comment in hopes of avoiding mathematical algorithms relating to similar actions by powers that be. Maybe that pot-belly man with the goat skull of a belt buckle, who wears all black, sometimes has fishnet stockings, who made a tribute album to Elvis and the pelvis, and his minions rat you out. Hasn't this character caused problems before? The guy you're talking about, no. He just hit me real hard that one time, and then his little buddy, he's out for blood for everyone. If you put up a video that shows any kind of footage of that fellow, his little minion, yeah, we'll do that. But as far as your comments and stuff, I'll go look in the Doom folder, but I just don't know. Miss Althea's talked about this too before, that her comments come up missing. And I don't know what that's all about. And believe you me, if I was to call YouTube, they sure as hell wouldn't answer my call. Mr. Beast calls, they'll answer the phone. In fact, they'll fly out to see what the problem is. If I do it, they'll say, yeah, you're a freaking bug. Get in line. The Dumbstruck Fool, Miss Althea coming in. Dumbstruck Fool says, David Draymond. She's talking David Draymond here. He should collab with Ripper Owens. Ripped Owens now, that is, because they're both ripped, on a heavy metal fitness program. A whole new meaning to shred. Could you imagine the late night infomercial on how many drunk high headbangers would you call the 800 number thinking they were ordering tickets to a concert? Yeah. Ripper and David. And they're holding each other's legs doing sit-ups and stuff. You could do it, bro. Come on. You know? They're holding on to each other. He's like, rip-a-tick-a-ding-do. Come on. 2 more, Ripper. Miss Althea on Mick Mars. It seems like the only thing he has not expressed is any regrets he may have for rejoining crew in the first place. Okay, I'm going to read that one more time. It seems like the only thing he has not expressed is any regrets he may have for rejoining crew in the first place. Perhaps he legitimately does not have any since doing so gave him a new lease on life. But was it worth it? Okay, I see where she's going with it. But was it all worth it for how he was ultimately treated? Yes. I mean, no. I agree with you there. He got back together to do we're doing the stadium tour. Was it worth it in the end? It is very sad, and I don't blame him one bit for wanting to totally break the ties. It sounds like he could benefit from some counseling for PTSD. Yeah, I 100% agree. Tony Iommi. Miss Althea on Tony Iommi here. I am sorry, I do not mean to err on the side of being unladylike, as if that would be an issue on this channel, but the fossil looked like an extremely painful medieval sex toy to me. I hope Tony didn't take it home into his wedding bed that night. He's like, if he had the same idea as you, he might have said, I wonder where I can put this thing. There would be a slew of write themselves jokes here if only Tony were in Iron Maiden and not Sabbath. Well, he's put it in the black hole. You could say that one. Miss Althea on Todd Latour. Just call him Mr. 2-Drink Minimum. Wonder if Ace Frehley is seething over any of this, being that he was seemingly always delusional about being a crack comic. Excuse the expression. Yeah, that's right, wasn't it? Ace Frehley used to say something. Yeah. Okay, this is a ... she's got going on here. This is what's throwing me off my game. Is this ... I'm like, oh shit, what is that? Because it's not a topic header. Todd Latour. Maybe she's ... and on Todd Latour. ... And there's bad lead into Kiss in London. And there's the bad... okay. I would honestly and seriously sooner pay out of the nose for a pro-shot, remastered, pristine quality 1977 Love Gun tour show in 3D IMAX than lay down 1 red cent for anything to do with this end of the road foolishness. The road that supposedly ended well over 25 years ago. So, there. Yeah, that would be fantastic. Freaking 3D IMAX. That would be nice. Miss Althea, I concur with Mike B's bad movie recommendations of It Came from Outer Space. It is indeed classic and is Mommy Dearest. Faye Dunaway was alarmingly epic as Joan Crawford. Bring me the axe. I mean, yeah, she was brutal. And then when they're doing the swimming, remember her and her daughter, and she beats her, and she's like, hey, and she goes, and I will always beat you. I will always be better than you. I was just like, God, man. Yeah. That was, Faye Dunaway was the first time I, was like Joan Crawford, and then I went back and learned about Joan Crawford, but I was like 12 years old when I was watching that going, Jesus, there's mommies out there that act like that? I'm glad my mommy don't act like that, Miss Althea calling me out on the dandies. Yeah, the fellers with the outfits. Yes, I suppose Brian May looks with his hair could somewhat qualify. The term, at least in the way I am familiar with, was used to define British men who dressed and presented themselves as being aristocratic. I just got that word. But they were in fact not. So they were playing a part. The early 80s New Romantics look was very much Dandy inspired. That's a doo-doo-doo. I hear the singers that you keep doo-doo-doo. When you're talking in your sleep. Is that the New Romantics? I will specifically cite Duran Duran's first album, period. And Adam and the Ants, stand and deliver your money or your life. Anybody, any Adam Ant fans out there? Love me some Adam Ant. I'm going to read this whole thing over again. The early 80s New Romantics look was very Dandy inspired and will specifically cite Duran Duran's first album, period. And is that Rio? And Adam and the Ants' Prince Charming era. Love, 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 darling. I like me some Adam Ants. There's so many different ones. It's Adam and the Ants. Adam Ant and the Ants. Adam Ant, you know what I'm saying? So that's why I'm doing tongue twister stuff. Plus I've had half a can of beer. Take the big drinks. Stillness out there here wrapping it up. Regarding 8 is Enough. Dick Van Patten. He was in fact on several episodes of The Love Boat. His son James was in a few of them. A few of the Saw movies? Really? James Van Patten? Is that James Van Patten? Saw. I like those Saw movies. I always thought they were dumb fun, but I liked all of them. I thought they were great. It's like, where are they gonna go this time? He's been dead. Good stuff. You're getting a heart and a thumb. And you already got, should I take that thumb back? She already had 2 thumbs there. Mark Ellis coming in here. Disturbed debut was inarguably the best metal album of the new millennium. What? Let's read that again. Disturbed debut was inarguably, so inarguably means you cannot argue with it, the best metal album of the new millennium. And the follow-up, Believe, was stupefying. Did that have the song Stupefied on it? Future Disturbed songs, Drop and Wait. Okay, now he's... Yeah, now, okay, I'm digging, Mark, I'm digging where you're going with this. Song titles, Drop and Wait. Another one is Want, Haagen-Dazs. Tums, Salad Fetish, Devour. No, wait, that was the previous tracks off Believe, Acid Reflux. Oh, da-da-da-ba-da-da, ching pong. All right. And he's got a thumb there. Look at that. Give it to him. And Evil Eyes, you've got evil eyes. Coming in here. And it just says, Carmine plays on Paul Stanley's 78 solo album. Oh! I'd click that and find out what your name is there, buddy, but I'm going to call you Evil Eyes. I didn't know that. I really like that record. That was the first Kiss album I owned, was Paul Stanley's solo record. I saw it in the grocery store. Remember when they had records in the grocery store? And I saw the star and I was like, what the fuck is this guy's deal? And then right shortly after that, they did like the premiere of that Kiss Meets the Phantom of the Park on regular TV. I shit my pants. Carmine played on that. Tonight you belong to me, but tonight you belong. That was a good record. I liked Aces a lot too. Gene, okay, and Peters was... There's a heart for you, buddy. All right, get out there, seize the day, win. Win big, Mama's Fallen Angels. You can do it. Anything you set your mind to, you can do. Like pulling them weeds that you've been waiting to pull, taking that hike, eating that, Chef Ramsay recipe that you've been saying, I promise, dear, tomorrow we'll make it, okay? All of these things can be done. You just got to do it, right? We're gonna. Oh, tell them. Let's get some. outer space. By God, they're gonna kill us. Jordy, get over there and fire that big cannon that we've got at these guys.
You got it, boss.
There we go. That hit him right in the hole. There's another one. We got I think it's called a bogey.
I'll get him again, boss.
I don't know what the hell I'm doing. The ocean waves. It's kind of my industrial version today.
Jive. Jive.